Hi everyone, it's Brittany, and today I am going to be sharing a character's perspective with all of you. I am going to be sharing my personal experience with psychedelics. So, before I get into any of this, I just want to preface this by saying I by no means am saying that this is something that you have to do, that you should do. I'm not suggesting that anybody do this. Really, it's not necessary to know yourself. I personally chose to do this after I already knew myself as source. So it wasn't like this gave me some sort of an awakening. Now, with that being said, I do know people who will say that it did. It helped aid them in their understanding and their realization. Either way, this is not something that you need. It's not something that you have to do. It's not something that you're missing out on. So really understand I chose to do this purely for the entertainment purpose of it, for the experience. So with that being said, I was never somebody who even tried any sort of drugs in my lifetime. Just never into that kind of stuff. Nothing against it if you are, but I never was. And so when I mentioned to my husband that I would be interested in trying shrooms, he was like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that would be awesome. And he was like, it's funny that this is the first thing that you're going to try. Now, I should also say I've definitely tried marijuana before. So that's, throwing that out there. So what ended up happening was I was interested in trying shrooms, and my husband has some friends who, have a place where they go and purchase them, and it's like a legit place that they go to. So that was just always, we knew that if we wanted to, we could get it through them. Now, randomly, not so randomly, I guess, but randomly to my character, my husband's friends came over. We were just hanging out, and his best friend had mentioned that he was going to, but he had a DMT pen. Now, I knew a little bit about it, was not super familiar with it, and I wasn't planning on doing it. But after I started hearing their experiences and what was going on with them, I was like, actually, maybe I do want to try it. And so really spur of the moment, I was just like, yeah, I'll do it. Now, just so you know, if this was something that they would have told me about beforehand, I would have totally chickened out. I would have just said, no, I'm good. I'm not going to do that. But just because it was being presented to me and it was kind of just like, hey, this is your opportunity to try this, I was like, okay, let's just do it. So, when I did it, and I did it once and once only, I have not done it since this one time, but in my experience, I took the hit, I laid on my bed, and my husband was with me. He was sitting on the edge of the bed. As soon as it hit me, I was looking down at this character's body, but it was very, very apparent to me at that moment that I was not the body. Now, I've had several experiences before where I could see that and I could understand that. This was like a direct experience where immediately I was like, wow, I'm looking at these legs, I'm looking at, my belly, and it's not me. It's totally not me. I just knew it. And so once I started feeling a little bit more comfortable in that state, I looked up at my husband, and he was wearing a cutoff shirt. And as I've mentioned to you guys before, he's a big guy. He has huge, huge arms. And so as I looked over at his arms, he had all of these different, how can I say this? Designs, patterns of lots of different neon colors. So it was almost like Aztec print. And it was where, if I were looking inside of his arm, which I wasn't, I was looking at the outside, but it was as if it were where his muscles and veins and arteries are in his arms. And so it was so cool. It was like a bright, glowing neon light of patterns. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I didn't want to stop looking at it, but then I wanted to continue to have this experience. And I don't know about other DMT, but the one that we did, it was like 7 to 10 minutes tops. It doesn't last a long time. So this was all very quick, and I wanted to really enjoy the experience as much as possible. So as I was explaining to everybody, because his friends were sitting there with us too, as I explained to everybody like what it looked like and what was going on, he then morphed into a gorilla, a full-on gorilla with the face. Now, it was a face of a gorilla, but then he also still had his hair that he does. He had his normal beard that he does, and he still had his normal, man arms that he has, but his face was a gorilla. And so I started laughing, and they were like, oh my God, tell us what's going on, what's happening. I couldn't stop laughing. I could not explain it to them. And I didn't want to waste my time explaining what was going on. So after that, I slightly turned my head this way. And I don't know if I mentioned it already, but we were in my bedroom. So I turned my head this way, and in the middle of the room, like midair, a hole was open. It was as if I was looking through a different dimension. And as I looked in, there were all of these beings. I don't know how else to explain them. I cannot explain what they looked like. They were just beings, almost like just figures. I don't know. I didn't see any facial features or anything like that, but just figures. And they were just living their lives. They were just moving around, doing normal everyday things, I guess. I couldn't really see what they were doing, but it was as if I was just looking into their world for a moment. And as I was looking, one of them started to try to communicate with me. Now, they weren't speaking, they were telepathically communicating to me and essentially saying, hey, come here. If you want to see things, come over this way. Now, unfortunately, it started wearing off at that point, and so things went back to normal for me. My husband had an incredible experience. I would love to share it with you guys. I am not going to do it justice, so I'm not going to. But what I will say is he did a lot more than I did. And he was literally like in an alternate universe where he was being touched by these beings. He was being spoken to by them. They were trying to show him different things. They were trying to explain what reality really was. And as you guys understand, I have been into this for many, many years, 18 years at this point. So none of this is like shocking to me. None of this is new to me. For my husband, however, this was not normal for him. So that experience for him was so profound. It really changed the way that he looks at things in a good way, in a great way, honestly. So that is my first experience. Now I want to share my experience with mushrooms, because that was the whole thing. That was the whole reason I even agreed to do any of this in the first place, was because I wanted to try shrooms. And I have some friends that swear by microdosing. They say that it's been so beneficial to them and their mental health. Now, for me, I wasn't using it to microdose. I was using it to have an experience. So the first time we tried it, absolutely nothing happened to me. The only thing that happened is I got super, super sick, nauseous, and I was vomiting for the rest of the night. And it was just like a crappy experience. Now, my husband did have an experience. So we were starting to think, because we did 2 different kinds, that maybe the one that I tried was just a bad batch or something, because it didn't work. So when we went to try it the second time, my husband was like, let's up the dosage a little bit. And I was like, okay, yeah. We did not need to do that at all. And I ended up taking more than I probably would have taken for a first time. So just throwing that out there. Now, the second time when I tried it, I this is going to be difficult to explain, but I hope I do it justice. So as it started coming on, what essentially happened for me was that I immediately knew that I was not this body. Not only that, but I knew that I was God. I knew that I was pure consciousnness. And from there, I was thrown into, gosh, I want to explain this well, thrown into the lives of many, 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 many different people. So let me explain what I'm saying. Essentially, for 7 hours, because this is how long this trip lasted for me, 7 hours, I, as consciousness, was experiencing being a different character. So the first character that I was a trash truck driver. It was a man. He was in his 50s. He was depressed. He had a lot of stuff going on in his family life. He was not happy with his life. And I knew all of this like that in a second. As soon as I was him, I knew his whole entire life. I felt the way that he felt, and it was intense. I was feeling intense depression, sadness, pain. But it lasted for a second, maybe two. Like, I can't really tell you the time because the experience was just so intense the entire 7 hours. But then I was thrown into another character. And this character was a child who was scared. She was just afraid of something under her bed. Her parents were trying to help her. She was feeling like they weren't really taking her seriously, but her fear was very serious to her. Again, the moment I was her, I knew all of this, just immediately knew it and felt it. So as this was going on, I was experiencing character after character after character. And essentially what this looked like to my husband as he's watching this all happen is I'm crying, I'm screaming, I'm laughing hysterically all over the place. Like crying, screaming, laughing, feeling sad, feeling worried, feeling scared. And then it was just going over and over and over again to the point where at one time I just screamed out, I get it. I get it. It's enough. I don't need to see this anymore. I don't need to experience this anymore. I know who I am. Just stop it already, please. Because even though it was such an amazing experience, it was so exhausting and draining. And on top of that, I just felt so, gosh, it's so hard to explain, guys. I wish I could like literally give you the experience. But for me, it was so much emotion. It was very much an emotional experience for me, really. It wasn't a physical experience. It was just a very emotional experience. And in that experience, I was going drastically up and down between feeling so amazing to feeling really awful and horrible and sad and afraid and scared and depressed and all that kind of stuff. So it was highs and lows, highs and lows. And I was so tired. I couldn't do it anymore. And this was like going on until 5 a.m. So after it all calmed down and everything really slowed and I started coming off of this, I had to explain this to my husband immediately because he was just like, oh my God, I can't wait to hear what was happening to you. And I explained it to him and he was just like, oh my God, that's so amazing. Like, that's such a cool experience. By the next day, could not speak, had no voice. And that lasted for about a week and a half where I couldn't even talk. And my body just needed so much rest from that experience. So for me, I don't think I ever need to do that again. Not saying that I'll never ever do it. I might, but honestly, at this moment, at this time, not interested in it. Don't need to do it. I really truly had like the most amazing experience that I personally could have had. I feel like it was exactly what I needed to experience at that time, in that moment in my life. So I'm so grateful that that was the experience that I had. On top of that, it really just confirmed for me who I already knew myself to be. But having that direct experience of literally like shifting in and out of all of these different characters with their lives and their stories and their experiences and their feelings, it was so incredible to experience like that in a direct way. So yeah, that was my experience. That has really helped me continue on seeing myself for who I really truly am. And I think it has helped me in the way that I present these things to you guys, because I know there's many teachers out there who talk about the things that I do, but I really want to present it in a way that's very easy to understand. Um, because at the end of the day, the intellectual information and understanding and knowledge can only get you to a certain point. So why make it complicated? Why make it more difficult to understand than it already might be? And do with it what you will from there, you know? But yeah, guys, I really just wanted to share this with you. Honestly, I haven't shared this with anybody else except for my husband and a few of you who are my clients who I've worked with already. So yeah, it feels good to talk about this, to share this with you all. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to ask them. I'm open to whatever. So feel free to ask me any questions. And thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be vulnerable here and to share this experience with you. It's not really something, like I said, that I would just go telling everybody about, but I love you all and I feel so safe here. And I love sharing these things with you. So thank you. Thank you so much. I hope that this was entertaining, at least for you all. This is not an informational video whatsoever, but I thought it would be fun to kind of hear and experience from my character's point of view. So yeah, that was it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if there's anything else that you want me to talk about in these membership videos, please absolutely suggest it. Like my main priority is to use it for Q&As, but I would love to share more videos like this. I think it's fun. So I am going to be doing another video on this membership side about death and revising death and all you would want to know when it comes to death in this experience. So I'll absolutely be sharing that as well. But as I said, if there's anything else, please put it down below. And yeah, thank you all so much for being here with me. I hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your day. And I will see you soon. I love you all so, so much.